Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name's Ed Morgan, a member of the Board of Directors, and on behalf of the Board of Directors of the AHRA, I'm pleased to partner. The AHRA is pleased to partner with Sectra to bring you this educational session that covers an important industry topic, PACS. This symposium is offered at no additional charge to our attendees and offered 1 CE credit. The support of companies such as Sectra is essential to providing educational opportunities for our members, and we want to thank Sectra for taking this opportunity to present it. So thank you, and so I now turn it over to the design team. Thank you. And Shawn.
Hello, Shawn McKenzie is the founder, president, and CEO of Ascendian Healthcare Consulting. Shawn holds a master's degree in public administration and healthcare policy. He is known as a dynamic and accomplished professional with 35 years of professional contributions in healthcare, clinical operations management, strategy, and implementation of business and clinical information systems. Shawn is a national thought leader, speaker, and author on the subject of changes in current healthcare delivery model. He addresses a variety of audience groups on topics of care, delivery reform, the associated business model, and technology, emerging to facilitate dramatic changes in the continuity of care. Shawn is defined by his desire to improve care delivery through the use of disruptive technology, data analytics, and business models designed to develop fluid, secure, and sustainable care.
Wow.
The changing healthcare landscape requires an advisor capable of fluently speaking in areas of clinical delivery, information technology, and business. Shawn is that uniquely qualified resource. Please welcome Shawn McKenzie.
Thank you. Thank you. That sounds like it was written by a PR firm. It really was. So we're going to start off a little differently today. I know, he's back here. I sneak up on you. So enjoy your drink. In fact, drink too. No, this is good. I enjoy a drinking and eating kind of symposium. We're going to start off a little differently today. What I'd like you to do is break out all your cell phones, all your smartphones, because I know you text, I know you Facebook, and I know you Snapchat. Right? We all do that. So we're going to go through a little thing here. It's called, maybe, if this advances, it's called drinking and thinking. So take that URL right there and punch that into your browser. What I'd like you to do is there's a 4-question survey in there. I just want to get an understanding of what we're dealing with here. Jump that in, answer the 4 questions, and we're going to go over here and we're going to watch all of your results come up live. And this is stuff that we should be familiar with, we're all dealing with, but I'm going to pop it over here to the survey because I know some fast fingers out there. I'm watching you. It's crazy stuff, good stuff. I go over here and bring it up, and we can see how we're doing here as we go. It will adjust accordingly. This is good information. Since VNA and PACS and deconstruction and workflow and all that kind of stuff has become part of our day-to-day routine for some of us, I just like to get a feel for where you are on some things before we dive into how we got there and where we're going. Maybe, kind of. This is good. Oh, wow. I forgot. Some of us are still learning. No problem, I'll do it. Okay, coming back with the link, there it is. There we go. Let me know when everybody's got the link plugged in so we can move on. That's good stuff. What's that song, that country song that's out right now? You Look Like I Need a Drink? No problem. I have a Coors Light up here for me. It's like 1 molecule away from water, so I'm fine. That in California, we call this boat booze. Everybody got that? Because I want to get back over to the results here. How we're doing. Oh! And the blue's coming up on the rail. We're just going to give this a few minutes. Get it? Oh, the internet. Yeah. If you have a problem, just call tech support. I'm sure they'll jump right on it. Put in a ticket. I like that. Put in a ticket. They'll ask you to reset your password, right? I know. How we doing here? Well, this is about what the market's saying so far. 91 votes in. Good job, everybody. Good work. How many people know what a VNA is? Don't guess. This is important stuff. All right. I have a couple others. Well, let's take a look at some of these other questions as we're going along. Interesting things. Workflow. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, this is a good group. This is jamming. We'll go back here. By show of hands, who's got all the questions in? We're close. For you stragglers, we'll give you another 30 seconds. Kind of go over this here a little bit. Real time. I love the honesty. I love the I don't knows. Appreciate that. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go through these, just taking a look here. So we look like a VNA. Does your institute have a VNA? You know, first of all, we have to define what a VNA is. I'm not going to go into the great details because if you ask any vendor in the world, everybody's got a vendor-neutral archive, right? Come on. I can't stand the name VNA, vendor-neutral archive, when everyone's got a VNA, but VNAs come in all flavors. Sometimes they're just DICOM archives. Sometimes they're true VNAs, so you got to know what they are, you know, versus just what is called. Because everyone's calling their archive a VNA these days. Going through here, taking a look, so about 50-50, we're about halfway, 25% don't know. Workflow engines, let's talk about that. 71% with a workflow work list management software. I'd be interested to find out here, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit later, whether it's an independent, modularized work list or workflow software, or if it comes with your existing PACS. That'd be an interesting one. We're going to get moving here in just a minute, but I thought you'd take a quick look at that. So I'm going to go back to this PowerPoint. We're going to kick this thing off. All right. Thanks for the drinking. Thanks for the thinking. All right. We all want to know, this thing's about, you know, constructed, deconstructed, and reconstructed systems. We've been listening to that forever. The marketing material that's out there as it relates to deconstructed PACS is everywhere. It's fluid. I guess we ought to understand why we got there, or how we got there, before we understand what happened, and then kind of what's happening now, what's trending back, if you will. What's happening in the industry today? Should you be concerned? Should you know what's happening today as far as enterprise imaging goes, not just radiology, because we're not a radiology bunch of, our administration is not radiology, right? We're medical imaging administrators, and we must think of ourselves as that, because imaging goes way beyond radiology. And I want you to own that, because you're the experts, right? There you go. I get off my diatribe and off my hot seat on that one. But we're talking about medical imaging. So we've been screaming from the mountain for a long time. How many people have been in this business for more than 25 years? Whew. Can you say attrition coming? It was good. How many brought your supervisors? Get them involved in the AHRA, folks, because we're going to be suffering from attrition. All the brain trust is going to get sucked out like a giant vacuum here in no time at all. Can we turn the air conditioning up in here? Thank you. Or give me a beer, another one. You know, it's got to be offset. Body temperature, core, right. Okay, cool. But if you've been in this business for a long time, 20, 25 years, back in the 1990s, we introduced this thing called PACS. You know, we were the first to go digital. Isn't that beautiful? It was us. We started the disaster. Congratulations. Imaging was the first ones. We came out with digital capabilities well before electronic health records were even thought of, right? We're the pioneers. And because we're the pioneers, we've gone through iterations of an evolution and maturity and all kinds of crazy things, and we've gone through it over the last 10 years in with great detail. We've really matured. But we've also stepped back a little bit, only to go forward again. We're going to be talking about that. So we've been screaming from the mountain since about 1990s. These should look familiar. Proprietary software. We've heard that, right? This software is proprietary. It doesn't work with anything else. Anything at all. Oh, attaboy. They have these wrapped up because you can take them outside. Okay, We've been screaming from the mountaintops, proprietary software, expensive to maintain and upgrade. We felt like we were trapped, right? If I want an upgrade, it was expensive. It was too expensive to completely move the system out, put a new system in. There's all kinds of problems with that. Slow movement to address express needs. Okay, we all became comfortable. Vendors became comfortable. I got a PACS. PACS is good. We're the first. I don't have to do anything with it, and I certainly don't need to really answer to the constituency or to the vendor or to the clients. They did to a certain degree, but it's slow, painfully slow. If Silicon Valley's swam upstream like healthcare, clinical healthcare, I'd be using DOS. As a matter of fact, I still do use DOS. But that's another subject altogether. Slow movement, standards, schmandards. We have standards in healthcare. It blows me away that we still don't use them. What's up? They're established. I mean, the hard-working DICOM committees working through the standards and IHE and all these things. They don't just go there to party. They go there to create standards for healthcare so that we can talk to each other, right? We don't need them. Systems, PACS systems, we don't need standards. We'll just do our proprietary stuff. It's faster that way. It's the secret sauce that goes along with my system. But we dealt with that stuff. The other thing we dealt with, operating system specific, i.e. this, i.e. that. And if you don't have my i.e., it breaks. Very operating system specific. Basically, I really believe it's been abominable. Who's got the laugh sign? God, it's been abominable. Anyway, so it's taken us a long time. We've dealt with a lot of pain in the market for a long time. Okay? And because of that, I think it was listened to. Finally, someone was listening. So what changed? What drove the change in healthcare? What drove the change in radiology? Or what drove the change in imaging specifically? Well, let's talk about that as well. Remember this? In 2009, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, signed in 2009, had healthcare components to it. Very specific healthcare components. We are spending too much money on repeats. We can't measure clinical outcomes. We can't talk to each other. The systems won't share information. Patients struggle. It costs more money because we duplicate and replicate. All these things moved into the era. We developed things like ACO. Who knows what an ACO is? Everyone should know by now. Who's involved in an ACO? Accountable Care Organization. Okay? What is required in an accountable care organization? You must do what with data? Share it. You got to move it. And in a proprietary world, it's impossible to do that. It's silos of information on a patient that is part of the care continuum that I can't share with anybody else. All right? So we've got now we've got regulation coming down from Moses comes off the mountain and say, thou shalt. So we all did. All right? We got accountable care organization. We have the High Tech Act, which called for interoperability. I'm going to talk about some of the things it calls for, but this was a big game changer for us. I think rightfully it was good. Personally, if you just want to ask my personal opinion, I think we should have been there years ago on our own. We shouldn't have to have the government telling us how to do business, but we're competitive. We're not socialized medicine, okay? And I'm not going to share my data with anybody, especially a competitor. No way. The only person struggling in that kind of world, patients and caregivers. Only two people struggling in a siloed world. Makes a lot of sense. But what it did was it created all these earworms. Anybody know what an earworm is? I had to look it up. My kid uses it. A 22-year-old kid. Hey, Dad, that's an earworm. What? I got a parasite? What's up? What's an earworm? Anybody? Help me out. Yeah. It's used for a song, something that you just can't get out of your head. It just goes on and on and on. That's an earworm. Well, we got our own earworms in healthcare, especially from the High Tech Act. Okay, we got things like interoperability. That's an earworm. You hear it all the time, do you not? Every meeting. How are we addressing interoperability? How are you addressing interoperability? We hear it all the time, never leaves us. The other earworm that we hear is, this is my favorite one. Meaningful use? Are you kidding? What does that mean exactly? That was written by a lawyer, I guarantee it. That was written by an attorney in Washington. We need to establish some meaningful use. Pay me, What is that? I don't even know what that means. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to share with you because it's ridiculous. Systems consolidation. You've heard this, right? Who's going through a systems consolidation right now? Raise your hand. Come on. We're going through it. Who's going through a systems consolidation? Wow, really? IT's not knocking on your door and said, that thing needs to talk to that, so we're going to consolidate your systems. And then they speak that little IT gibberish, you know, those IT acronyms, and you just glaze over, and you just want to go out and, you know, you want to suck on a tailpipe somewhere. Another one is standards-based applications, earworms. These are all earworms. And they're generated for a very good cause. They're generated because we have a problem in healthcare, and we've had a problem for a lot of years, and our vendors really haven't helped us out, but they didn't really know better, so it's up to us. So now we're getting squeezed to make this happen. And now they're putting diminished payments on top of this. I'm going to hurt you big time. I'm going to start taking your money. Right? Follow the money. Follow the money. I'm going to start taking your money away unless you can start doing these kinds of things. All right? But there wasn't a lot of movement. I can't. I'm stuck with my system. My system does one thing only, and okay, this creates an opportunity, folks. Does it not? I'm an entrepreneur. I always have been. If I see an opportunity, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to look at it, find out about it. And that's what happened. The market responded to this in a big, big way. If someone sees an opportunity, and bam, Emerald comes out of the woodwork. You got all these dot-commers that have left .com. They're going, hey, healthcare's a mess, man. I can do this. All right? You've got fast-moving companies that are out there. They can write code while they're talking to you, eating a sandwich. You want what? Okay, yeah, I can do that. You know, it starts to work. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the bottom line is hot companies came in, and they started looking at the old paradigm, and they said, well, we can do that, and we can do that, and we can do that. And it doesn't take much. Oh, and I'm happy to do it on standards-based. I'm happy to do it standards-based. What are the standards? Let me read them. I could do that. I can get thousands of coders to do this. And they did. This is what happened in our market. Thank goodness, right? But it started this whole movement, this whole systematic movement of throwing out the old and coming in with the new and all kinds of crazy things called Deconstructed. We can take it apart. All right? The industry responded with technology capable of solving problems, which we are hoping would happen with our other vendors because we're partners, solve my problems. The problems are now mandated. They're regulatory. Now I got bigger problems. Okay, now you need to help me solve those. No. Or maybe. Or it's going to take some time. Okay? Or we've done a focus group. This is my favorite one. No, we did a focus group, and that's like number 23. It's not even close, you know. That interoperability is 23 on a scale of 1 to 10. You hear that? Anybody working in a users group? Hey, it would be really great if your system could do my cappuccino, you know. But, no, it'll never happen. It takes too long. Solutions with a response to the business pressures. Who's being driven by analytics today? Data don't lie. Who has KPIs that are data driven? Who doesn't have KPIs that are data-driven? Pay attention, it's coming. You want another drink, sir? That's double. We're gonna pick one. Yeah, it's not enough for us to go in and say, it's all good. It's all good, I got this. Really? Prove it. Prove it. And I'm gonna hold you to those key performance indicators. And I need to know where your source of truth is because I need to drive analytics across the entire enterprise. I need to consolidate my clinical applications with my business applications so I can get a big old clin application. Bapplication, whatever you want to call it. So I can measure how we're doing clinically, but I can also prove that we're doing it for less money. The pressures of doing business in America have not gone down. They're still there. We still have to shape a margin. There's got to be a profit here somewhere. So you're going to do more with less at less cost, and you're going to prove it. I'm thinking about driving a school bus. It's looking pretty good about now. Up at 6, drop the kids by 8:30, round of golf, back at 3. Sound right? Who's in? Okay. But we've got to do this because we've got to prove how we're doing it. Part of the whole care continuum, part of the High-Tech Act is show me. CMS wants to show me how many readmissions do I have, how fast am I getting the stroke patients, blah, 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 it goes on and on. Okay, we need to have those. Vendors with a different perspective and new school mentality. I'm not saying all the vendors are old school. I'm just saying it took a while to shift up the gear, find that higher gear. But it left enough, there was enough loss of traction in there where new technology companies were able to come in, and they didn't go after the big giant. They didn't go after and take on the entire system or the entire, if you will, PACS continuum. They took on pieces of it and said, we can do this really, really well. And we can pair with somebody who can do that really, really well, and pair with somebody who can do this really, really well. Together, we can all do really, really well. Together. Right? And we bought it. We all bought it. We did. Vendors that view imaging sciences beyond radiology. There's another one. Well, it's an image, right? How many visible objects are in healthcare? Visible objects. Is that a visible object? You ever seen a doctor sniff a lab report? Or listen to an H&P? Everything we do in healthcare generates a visible object. We read it with our eyes. Who's the control of the eyes? We are. We have been forever. We are the eyes of the physician. So we have to think outside of just radiology. We've got to think about visible objects in healthcare, delivering them to the right place, the right time, point of care. Okay? Companies come out and said, we got to look well beyond this stuff. We got to think about every visible object in the industry, but we can tag it off of the biggest user of images and the biggest file sizes and so on and so forth, which is radiology. That's where it all started. Okay? Once again, pioneers. Pioneers. Okay. So what is deconstruction? We've heard this word a million times. I've heard modularized just a few minutes ago. Thanks, Shirley. Modularized because we want to change the name. We want to get off the rat wheel that we're on. But deconstructing seems to be the market trend, the earworm for the market. How many people here, based upon that, I haven't looked at the survey completely, how many people here are moving through a deconstructed PACS changeout? Full deconstruction. I know you are, Roberta. I know. How's it going? I'll find out. God, I'm in Nashville. Find out. Anybody else going full deconstruction? Okay, let's talk about what it is before we answer that question, because we may have different feels about this. So this is our thing. This is our thing, PACS. We know what this acronym means, right? It's okay if you don't, if you're new. Picture Archival Communication System, right? Okay. So the first thing we did is we divorced out the archive. We used a thing called a vendor-neutral archive, which means that it's not just radiology. I can take anything in its original format, right? Some say I'm a VNA when I DICOM wrap. Fine, you can say whatever you want. Okay, there are a lot of VNAs out there. I don't like the word vendor-neutral archive anyway. We've got to come up with something different because every vendor has an archive, all right? Is it a DICOM archive? Is it DICOM wrapping? Can they take every object in its original format? Can they do tag morphing? Can they do ILM? All these things must be asked when you talk about VNA, but for the sake of this meeting, we're going to say we took the archive and we moved into the VNA space, a consolidated archive space with non-proprietary DICOM tags and adherence to all standards. Right? I'm going to shove everything, the feel is, I'm going to take not only the archive for the radiology and separate it out from the PACS, but I'm going to be able to take other stuff too. That's the wish, that's the dream, that's the prayer. Let me take other ologies, endo, visible light, pathology, cardiology. Just send me all. Send everything to me. Give it to me all. I can take it. It's a VNA. So the first thing we did is we separated out the VNA, and that happened like crazy because you could run a VNA in concert with the application layer. So if you've got a CareStream or a Fuji or a whatever PACS, you know, Johnny's Hair Care Tire Center and Radiology System, you can throw a VNA on the back of that thing and feed it all day long and be fine. That right there is the optics. It's the narrative. But that was the first thing to go. So we deconstructed our archive and we kept our picture and our communication structure. Well, not really. What we did is we separated out the picture piece. Now we've got 0 footprint, HTML5, diagnostic, and clinical viewers that are thin, They don't sit on a big PACS grinding away on a big old server. All right, they're very thin. They can be used on an iPad, an iPhone, because they're not OS specific. They're HTML. It's all web services, right? And we can shove this anywhere. Great. Is it diagnostic? Yes, it is. Does it have the tools? Yes, it does. Can it do mammo? Can it do mammo? We'll see. They're coming out there, all right? I'm FDA approved. Full fidelity. Streaming. I love these words. But this is what you hear, okay? So now we've separated out the picture piece. Now we've got the communications piece. What makes up the communications piece? I'll hand you the risk is part of the communication, but the biggest part of the communications piece is that right there. It's the workflow engine. You know, how do you parse out work lists? Who goes to where? How do you communicate? Along with that comes CTRM, critical test results management, right? Peer review. There's that word again, analytics. Okay? So now you've got the picture. That's what we're all about. You got the archive, and you've got a workflow engine that is able to parse it and push it and move it around with the ability to test things or to look at things right here. User work list. Now you got 3 parts of what a PACS really was, right? But it's all scattered. This is deconstruction. This is deconstruction. Buying them individually as modules and then gluing them back together. This kills me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all these pieces now that are standards based and we're going to glue them back together to make a PACS. I'm just being honest. Because ultimately, now, is it a smarter PACS? Maybe. Can you take it out? They call it plug and play. I love that. Plug and play. Push it in, push it out. If you don't like me, get rid of me. Throw another one in there. Okay? Now you have 3 things that you have to integrate. Make sure they're talking. Let alone the integrated service level agreements. Anybody dealt with one of those? You know, I'm not advocating either way. You can do whatever you want. But here's the deal. If something breaks in this, who do you call? What's the first thing that breaks? Because every radiologist sees it first. Workstation. Picture. Right? So in the integrated service level agreements that we've done, that I've done in a deconstructed system, the viewer owns it, man. The viewer company's like, hey, you're going to hear it first. Because it's not going to populate, it's not going to pixelate, it's not going to do whatever, it's going to modulate and facilitate and all that, and you're going to see it, and they're going to yell at you. So you're the head of the spear, so you get to disseminate it down to whoever broke. And you need to call them, be best friends with them. Okay? Now, this is all in response to the fact that we were proprietary. This used to all be in one system called PACS, but now it's broken apart. Now we got to have service level agreements, and we got to integrate it and things like that. Doesn't sound like that big a deal. And quite frankly, it's not horrible. Okay? But if you have systems that are built on standards, okay, doesn't that eliminate the whole idea behind deconstruction? If it's truly built on standards, let's talk about that. How many of them out there are built on standards? So this is a head scratcher for me. What is deconstruction? And this is it. It's interesting, though, that we're all gluing it back together to get a PACS. Now, I've read all kinds of stuff. I read an article, I think you probably already have it. It trended like crazy, called The Death of PACS. I heard Death of PACS. PACS is dead. It's gone forever, but we really do have it. We're just looking at it a little differently. Now, there are advantages here because these independent folks are constantly in a state of R&D, constantly in a state of research and development, making perfect their system, okay? You're going to see FDA-approved mammography viewers. You're going to see integrated server-rendered 3-dimensional processing, native. You're going to see tomo. You're going to see pathology. You're going to see all of the ologies with viewers able to launch. It's just going to happen. I guarantee it. It's a matter of time. All right? The VNA is going to act a little bit more as your centralized archive. In fact, quite frankly, I've argued that it should be the archive space for the electronic health record. Why not? It's a report. It's a lab result. It's an H&P, discharge summary. Right? It doesn't have to act as the EHR, but it can be the repository at certain things for data generated from the electronic health record. I've made the argument the VNA can be that bus layer, that thing that collects everything and just has applications laid above it for the different ologies, because everyone works differently. If you think for a minute that anybody works in radiology, we force them into a radiology workflow, I got news coming from you. If you ever try to force anybody else into a radiology workflow, put on the flak vest. It's ugly. Because they don't do what we do, where we generate an order and it comes in, it has an accession number and a unique identifier and goes in here and the images go that way and the report goes this way. And who does that? Crazy people. That's who does it. But nobody else does that. I mean, ask the endo people. Surgical light. Ask how they put it together. Do they split the images? No. So it's a lot of fun stuff. So the VNA is going to come around as well. The workflow engine is very interesting because radiology is driving workflow concepts outside of radiology. With business intelligence and learning capabilities, where the system learns a specific doctor. And this doctor always likes to see the lab result come up immediately with this picture or with that, and it can go out and fetch it and grab it. This is going to be some cool stuff right here. All right? This is just going to be a big consolidation for Watson to take over all the radiologists. Any radiologists in here? I got to check. Seriously, I got to check. Consolidation of data, let Watson read it, AI, first pass, CAD for dummies, radiology for dummies. I mean, whatever you want to call it, but if you think about it, we're moving in that direction. So if the VNA has lots of stuff, it can learn a lot of things, right? Imagine if this VNA was part of an HIE, a health information exchange. Oh my gosh, look at the data we can drive there. Wouldn't it be cool? And I said this at a radiologists convention one time. It didn't go well at all. But can you imagine what it would be like if all images were shoved into a clearinghouse, a MART, and you stuck on top of that thing a workflow engine and a HTML5 viewer, and the radiologist, in order to read, had to put in their rate of pay. Oh, that would be so cool. And it's like eBay for radiology, right? They got to put in. They have to be qualified. They got to be licensed locally, and all this kind of stuff. But then you put your bid in for your chest X-ray rate, and all of a sudden, and there's bidding going on. You can see it, like what happened up here. $47.50, $33.80. Lowering it, click, That would be cool. I think I'm going to do that. That's a business, by the way. Clearinghouse, a Walmart. You could do that. You can do it. Anyway, so this is what we're facing. Deconstructed. This is what it looks like. Not that, but all this. I just love Bill Murray. That's why. Plug and play. I've heard this one a lot. Plug and play. Plug and play. If you don't like us, take us out. Throw us in the jungle, throw us in the water, and put something else in. Mm-hmm. Sure. Right. Not what you think. Yeah, I mean, you could do it, but it's not just plug and play. Let's be honest. It takes something. We're moving data. Remember, we're in healthcare. Little mistakes kill people. It does. That I instead of the E, something gets missed in the message, it kills people. There's a patient at the end of that thing. We got to be doing our job right. Plug and play, you still got to test it. You still got to integrate it. You still have to look at it. So it's not plug and play like we think we are. Make it sound so simple, But there are many things to consider when going deconstructed. Many things. From governance to service level agreements with the vendors. I mean, there's lots of stuff you got to think about when you go this direction. Not saying it's not a direction to go. I'm just saying there's things that you got to consider. It's not the panacea that we all think it is, or we've all been told it is. I want to make sure I'm on time here. So look in the camera when I said that. Okay. All right. PACS is back. It never really went anywhere. It just changed. PACS is back. It really is. And not this one. This is legacy. This is old proprietary stuff, right? PACS is back. And it is sexy. That's right. Got a whole new look. PACS has come back, folks. It's working with standards. You know, companies that drive standards looking like that right there. Right? That's abs right there. Standards right there. There's CTRM. No, I'm just kidding. It used to look like this, but it doesn't anymore. PACS has changed. And because the market forces have driven the change, thank you, we have asked it to do something. People answered. All of a sudden, people freaked out. Competition came in. Nothing's better for creating and for R&D than competition. Now we got all these young companies, these dot-commers, these googly people. They're coming in healthcare and challenging the status quo, and the status quo companies are going, wait. We can do this. Give me about 5 years. I can catch up. It's going to cost you, though. No. It looks like this now. Standards-based PACS for radiology are now standards-based PACS for everything. And can grow and can evolve. It can. It will. It's a visible object system now. It's looking at it a little differently. It toned itself up a little bit. Adherence to standards. That's a big one. Less operating system dependent. It's another one. Lean and powerful. We're in a different place, folks. The PACS companies of today felt the pain and the burn. Right? And they're all coming to bear. And they're coming to bear with IHE standards. Okay? How many folks here know what IOCM is? Just these are kind of standards. Image object change management. You know, who understands what DICOM service classes are? Okay? Very few of you. I guarantee you a lot of your IT folks have no clue what those are. Okay? It takes knowledge to do this stuff. Service classes. Something that used to be a service class user, and a service class means it's DICOM thing, I accept information, I give information, whatever, I do both. Give you an example. A PACS or a VNA used to be, or an archive used to be a service class user. Come on, send it to me. Send it to me. Now it has to sometimes be a provider back into another application. So these are the kinds of things that are happening in the healthcare, in the imaging spaces. All right? So lean and powerful. Systems supporting imaging must adhere to standards and address the requirement for interoperability or perish. They will not survive very long in this environment. It's impossible. You can't be proprietary and survive anymore. Okay? So for all of you that are looking at a PACS exchange, okay, it's legacy, it looks like that. Okay? Just trudging along, about to break, you know. Come on, baby, one more day. One more day. You rub its belly in the morning, come on, man. Nobody get mad at it, please. If you're there, you've got a lot of decisions to make. You can go deconstructed, you can go constructed, but always adhere to those standards and know what those standards are. Ask those questions in your RFP, folks. Tell me about your standards. Are you standards-based? And then move it beyond that. Who knows what XDS is? I know you know. Shirley, keep your hand down. XDS, it's the future. It's used in Europe. XDS, XDSI for imaging. Okay? Those kinds of things are the questions you want to ask. Where are you going with that stuff? Because it may not be used today, but it's going to be used later when we start exchanging data across enterprises. Forsaking the patient. We've got to take care of the patient. Patients move, believe it or not. They go other places. I know you think they're loyal, but they got to go somewhere sometimes. And we have to be able to exchange that data with somebody who needs it. All right? How are we doing on time? Find the fit. This is the big one. If you're going through this right now, find the fit. Okay? You got to ask yourself a question. Best of breed, which is the deconstructed world, or best of suite? Okay? Because they're out there. The suites that put this all together as a single software application or a layer or everything, they carry all these things forward with them now. Because the market, you drove them that way. Not just you alone. You know, we talked about the AHRA and the High-Tech Act, but they're here now, okay? Everyone's kind of come to the table and said, to survive anymore, we must adhere to standards. So you could look at a best of suite, like a PACS vendor, and ask them questions about how they're going to manage other ologies. And they should be able to answer you. They should have no problem answering that question. Okay? Best of breed. Breaking it down. Getting my PACS, getting my VNA, I'm going to layer on top of that there it goes, just left. Excuse me. Should be able to layer a viewer on that. Okay? And then how am I going to develop my workflow? What am I going to do with my workflow? Okay, I got to get that going. So you can piece those together if you want. If you have that level of sophistication and you know what you're trying to do, you can do that or go best of suite. It's really up to you. But it's a good market for it right now. It's a good market because it has come to the table. Thank goodness. We're where we need to be, and it's just going to get better. Okay, because people are now re-engaging in healthcare. I don't know why. I'm looking for the exit door, but so are you. I could tell right there. What are you trying to accomplish? If you cannot define what you are trying to do, stay home. I'm serious. And do not let, how many IT folks? I love you. Okay? I speak IT. So don't let the IT folks drive this. What I'm trying to do, they don't know. They're not clinical people. Give them that. It's a partnership. When you start looking for systems, you must be able to find what you're trying to accomplish. First phase, second phase, third phase, fourth phase, all the way down to phase 275. You don't need to go that far on the first page, but I recommend phase 1's good. What are you trying to accomplish as a system? What are you trying to accomplish as a department? And you got to ask those questions, not as a department anymore. What am I trying to accomplish as an enterprise? What am I trying to provide through my work to the enterprise to take it to the next level? Because if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, you are just meandering out there. You are sailing with no northern star. And you will sit there and meander, and you'll make mistakes. And they're expensive mistakes. So do yourself a favor. Do your due diligence. Understand. Incorporate other people and decisions around this kind of stuff. IT. Really, the low-hanging fruit on this thing is cardiology. DICOM. It's basic. They produce DICOM images. Go to cardiology and say, hey, listen, I got to exchange out my PACS, and I want to consider you guys. You want to what? They look at you funny. You want to what? Then they look at you and be, oh, you're trying to take over. I know what's happening here. You're trying to, yeah, I know what you're doing. Then they get in the back of the corner. No. I want to provide you a system that brings our information together so that the care continuum improves. And then you take that up to the C-suite, big mahogany row. Right? Here's what I think we should do. We should have an enterprise imaging strategy that incorporates radiology first because we're dying, but it must accommodate all the other ologies to some degree. And that's the way we need to approach the selection of the system, enterprising it. All right? There's others. How am I doing on time? 15? Okay. Do you have the knowledge? Does IT have the knowledge? I got to tell you, folks, imaging is a weird bird. You are strange, folks, and you know it. That's why they was always in the basement. All right? How many people lived in the dark room like me? Anybody remember that far back when you're dipping bromide, rinse, fix, rinse, and your hands get cut because the little clips? I'm only talking to like 10 of you now, right? You all lived in the digital world. I have no idea where I took that and why I took that there. Can you help me out? Okay. Oh, there, yeah. No, that has nothing to do with it. Thank you. But do you have the knowledge to do this? Does IT have the knowledge to do this? Maybe together you're one and you do have the knowledge to do this. IT's got the juice around technology. You got the juice around workflow. You come together. You act as partners in this. Okay? Do some reading. Bring in some help. I don't know what you want to do, but if you have the knowledge for this kind of stuff, I recommend it. It's kind of a fun journey. It's fun. Get out there. Do it. If you don't have it, find it or read it. Gain it. Gain the knowledge. But information technology is not going to know this stuff. They know IT. It's a collaboration. And then you collaborate with other departments. Governance, I'll say it again, governance is the number one failure point in most projects. There's no governance. Who's on first? What's on second? What are we doing? Who's in charge? Can we break the governance down? In an enterprise imaging strategy, maybe you start with radiology, and radiology's got a governing piece to this thing, but when you move to cardiology, who do you have to sweep in? Who do you have to bring in? Who do you have to bring in over here? Who do you have to bring in over here? It can be your show, but you need to be collaborative in a governing way to make sure that the enterprise is moving in the right direction. Okay? Are you comfortable managing this effort? That's the other question you have to ask yourself. Okay, we're going to do this. I think I got the knowledge, but I've never seen one before. Or I've never really looked at one. I've read a lot. I get it. I understand it. Go out and look around. I know budgets are tight. Travel. I'm surprised y'all are here, honestly. Seriously. Do you have to sell like the second son to get here? Right? I know, budgets are tight. You know, don't you love that we've got no more travel budget? But you went to Aspen. Shut up. Okay? Yeah, the travel budget, but you got to get out and look. You got to be able to go to symposium, and you've got to be able to go to places that understand this stuff. Talk to them, how they do it. Use the AHRA link. Talk to people who've done this. Dive into this, because there's people out there that know. They're just not stupid enough to get up here and tell you like me. But they know. They've done this. You know, use your constituency. Use this relationship that you have to drive knowledge and comfort with managing a project like this. All right? And that is it. About 10 minutes for questions, if there are any. Thank you. Drink up. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So is every PACS system deconstructible?
No. The question was, is every PACS system deconstructible? I don't know. Well, you can ask them. So you go to a PACS vendor and say, hey, listen, I want to take out this part of your system and I want to shove another one in. That'd be interesting to see the response you get. I'm sorry? Synapse? Fuji? Yeah, I think that you can tag a VNA. I don't think they're too specific about the vendor neutral. I would definitely talk to them. I don't speak for Fuji. But I think that Fuji recognized early on that a vendor neutral archive that's not theirs, it just has to happen. You know, it's going to happen. Yes, ma'am. We have questions, folks. Kind of just you can drink and all, but drink quietly. Do I think Epic is trying to get a foothold in this arena? Okay, pause, breathe. I think Judy has her mind on being everything to everybody. No, I'm not kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I think that from what I've read, and I don't know, I don't speak for Epic as well, I would say that they are not necessarily interested in diving into the imaging space, but they are very interested in incorporating the imaging into their world. Once again, remember this thing? Nothing drives an EHR vendor crazier than me talking about being the archive space for the EHR. But because they want to be everything, right? They want to be the repository. I don't think it's in their wheelhouse. I think imaging's that weird bird. I can say that I think that they're going to move into the cardiology space because it's a lot of data. You know, images, where in radiology, images are used as the primary focal point. In cardiology, it's data supported by images. So there's going to be some movement into the cardiology space, I believe, and definitely the other ologies, but not an overt going after radiology as an imaging provider. I don't think so. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Early on, at the very beginning of your speech, you used an acronym, IRM, IMR. Do you know I don't know what that is.
IMR?
Yes.
IRM? I used an acronym? Hold on. ILM. Oh, I'm sorry. Image Lifecycle Management. So a VNA, it can be, you can build rules in a VNA. So you know how we used to purge our film library? Okay. So you can build rules into a vendor neutral archive that actually purges after a specific period of time. You know, whether it's, you can write things around whether it's pediatric or breast, you don't move that, but if it goes to 7 years with it not being touched, you can eliminate it from the archive. You can get rid of it from the archive space. So yeah, it's called Image Lifecycle Management. Anything else? Anybody else? We got to go full hour here. AHRA is going to revoke all of your licenses. One more question. The answer is yes. Great. Yes, sir. No. We're done. Thank you.